Okay, so again, the key to graphing the tan function is we want to find the center. So I'm going to start with my shifts. So I'm going to draw in my, oops, I'm going to draw it the other way here. I'm going to draw it over here. There's my y-axis. It's not a very good line, but I'm going to draw it a little bit nicer. There's my y-axis. Okay, and I want to find the horizontal center. So I've got a shift of pi over 3 to the left. Now I should start keeping track of these terms. So I'm going to keep track of these things. So my horizontal shift is equal to negative pi over 3. I've got a vertical shift that's equal to down 1. I'm going to just do this in a different color so I can keep track of my vertical differently from my horizontal. So I'm going to draw my vertical shift down 1. Okay, so I'm going to just draw that in like that. That's equal to y equals negative 1. My horizontal shift, I'm going to draw in, I'm going to put some scale in here, and maybe I'm going to put that at right about here, and that point represents negative pi over 3. Okay, so this dot represents the center of the graph. So that's the most important. My period is pi. Okay, so for tan graphs, since it is going left and right half of the period, I'm going to go to the right pi over 2. That means I got to locate where pi over 2 is. So I have to start at negative pi over 3 and add pi over 2. So I'm going to use a common denominator of 6. So that's negative 2, 6 plus 3, 6. Okay, and that's going to give me 1, 6. So right about here, that's going to be about positive 1, 6. And that's going to represent the right edge of that tan graph. So that is an asymptote. Okay, this dotted line, I'm just going to erase a bit of it because it's a little bit misleading if that it's not an asymptote. But that line here at pi over 6 is an asymptote. So now I'm going to go to the left, the same amount. I'm going to draw it right about here. This is an asymptote. And to find the location of that, I'm going to start at negative pi over 3, or 2, 6. And I'm going to minus 3, 6. That gives me to negative 5, 6. Or 5, 6 pi. And that represents the left asymptote, or the left edge of that graph. So now I have all I really need to graph this. I know that it's going to go through here and follow the asymptotes. Okay. Now, again, I want to try to start including this vertical expansion. Now, you do need to be able to identify the vertical expansion. So it's a vertical expansion of times 2. You may be asked to show it. Okay, to show it, we want to use that 45-degree point, or halfway point between the middle and the asymptote. I'm just going to draw it in right about here. Okay, so that's going to be that point. To find the middle, I'm going to do negative pi over 3 plus pi over 6, and I'm going to divide it by 2. Middle is average. So that's going to be 2 pi over 6 negative 2 pi over 6 plus pi over 6. That's negative pi over 6 divided by 2 gives me negative pi over 12. And that's going to represent the middle point. So when I go to the right, to that point there, instead of going up 1, because the vertical expansion is by 2 times 2, I'm going to go up to 2. So that's negative pi over 12, and x is 1. Y is 1. And I can also find the point here. Okay, and I'm going to find that by taking the middle, or the average, of negative pi over 3 minus 5 pi over 6 divided by 2. So that's going to be negative 2 pi over 6 plus negative 5 pi over 6. That's negative 7 pi over 6 divided by 2 gives me negative 7 pi over 12. So the location of that coordinate is negative 7 pi over 12. So I go from the middle, I go to the left, and instead of going down 1, I'm going to go down 2 units to locate that point. Okay, and that's at negative 3. So that can be used as our reference. Now, if you're not asked for that point, you could just draw in your graph like that and like that, and that's good enough. If you are asked for that point, we can use that coordinate to help us graph. So I'm going to go through that point. So it indicates that's a bit of a vertical expansion. I'm going to go through this point. That indicates a bit of vertical expansion, and it follows the asymptote. So we need a little bit more of a curve in there, but there we go. Okay, so there is what that graph's going to look like. Again, we want to start keeping track of these, the horizontal and vertical shifts, the period, the vertical expansion factor. To draw this, really what we want to find is the middle. Okay, although there's other things that we can do, really the middle is the starting point. We want to find that middle first using our shifts, and then we can use our period to find the asymptotes, and then we can sketch in our graph. Okay, the blue, light blue part that I've added in is an extra. We don't necessarily need that. If we more advanced problem, we might start using that coordinate.